I've been putting off making this video for about a week now. It's about a very personal story that I feel like happens to a lot of teenagers these days. My hope is that with sharing this, I'll help at least somebody. At the age of 13, I was just entering high school during the 2020 COVID lockdown. All I did was play video games and watch porn. I had managed to somehow get a girlfriend who everyone in my shitty group of friends was into, so they were all clearly talking shit about me and flirting with her behind my back. I remember one time, a year and a half after this whole situation, they literally came up to me and they told me that they would have detailed conversations on how to make me look worse so that she'd break up with me. I clearly wasn't living life how I should have. And it didn't help that I was also super immature back then and would constantly spark drama because I thought it was fun to fucking argue about super mundane shit that just didn't matter, or sometimes it would evolve into genuinely hurtful things. I was treating myself and everyone around me like shit because it was easy to do, and I thought it was fun. Back then I would have never stepped foot into a gym or even picked up a dumbbell because on top of all that, I was a fucking coward. I rarely told anyone how I actually felt unless it was specifically to spark drama, and I didn't even see my wrongs. I remember one night, after walking my girl home, I was walking along a busy street and I couldn't even make out the shapes of the cars. It was literally just like the blurry headlights in the rain, and for the entire walk I was constantly thinking about just jumping in to end it. I came home and I told my mom that I thought I was depressed, and she tried to comfort me. She decided to take me to a doctor's office who gave me a recommendation to a therapy clinic, which we went a couple times. Throughout this time, I had realized that even though she was literally the only thing holding me together, I kept getting in fights with my girl, completely of my own doing. I decided to cut it off with her, and I remember thinking to myself, she doesn't deserve to deal with a depressed person. Looking back at these thoughts, it's so clear what was the answer for these issues. I used depression as a scapegoat. Everything bad I did that was just instant gratification or harmful to others, I would tell myself, it's okay. I'm depressed. The rest of the world's so hard. I deserve this. I was barely even through puberty. Like, I barely started it. And I had already, on multiple occasions, seriously considered taking my own fucking life. Because I believed at the age of fucking 13, 14, life was too hard. Throughout 2021, I had started going to therapy sessions with this guy. And even though he was a great guy, he didn't really help me out too much because I had already convinced myself that I was too far gone. Keep in mind, this entire time I had done nothing but play video games, watch anime or YouTube or Instagram, beat off, and sleep. I had genuinely zero good habits. There were nights I would go to sleep at 4 in the fucking morning, wake up at 5 in the afternoon, and do the exact same shit. I used to have such a shit body that I would genuinely hate seeing myself in the mirror or walking around in my own house shirtless. Something interesting happened midway through 2022 though. I started getting these shorts of this rich-ass Romanian bald guy on my feed. Through that instant gratification I was so addicted to, he managed to get my brain thinking about things in a different light. One thing he said that really stuck with me was along the lines of, you aren't a failure because you're depressed. You're depressed because you're a failure. This advice didn't even sound like fucking advice at first. I was genuinely pissed that someone would say that because he couldn't possibly know how hard I've had it. I slowly started to think more about what he was saying and I realized how right he was. Maybe me being depressed wasn't just how I had to live. Maybe my brain was telling me that my life was depressing and needed to be changed as soon as possible. It started with watching a shitload of self-improvement videos. I remember one of those like super edited fucking videos, you know the ones, I'll put one on screen right now, about some speech David Goggins did that really set me into high gear. And throughout December 2022, I was waking up and running like 4 kilometers in the Canadian winter at 5 in the morning. I started going to the gym after that in February 2023. I've pretty much cut video games out of my life, which was a shocker to anyone who used to know me. Ever since then, I've been striving to improve myself every day I can. I honestly believe these days, depression is almost a trend. It's so common online to see people flexing that they're depressed or they're on the verge of killing themselves. And it's shocking once you step out of that mindset. It's hurtful to see. Hating yourself is what you need to do to be accepted if you have nothing. And that traps you in an endless cycle of hatred and self-deterioration. The world is hard. There's no way around that. The only choice you have in this life is whether or not you let it get to you. Keep working hard. See you next time.